Hello, loved ones. This is Matt Stevens, and I hope you are doing super fantastic. I'm doing pretty well myself. Rainy day out there, but that's cool. Here I am. Yeah, and I was kind of looking through some books. I typically a lot of times I'll just kind of pick up a book that I've already read and just kind of thumb through it. I think after some time I end up rereading it just bits at a time. But I wanted to read you a little portion of Itzhak Bentov's Stalking the Wild Pendulum. And it goes like this. I would like to remind them that meaningful breakthroughs in science, art, and technology come not by figuring out things to the nth degree, but through intuitive leaps or insight, which are later rationalized. As mentioned before, when operating in uncharted territory, intuition is the only thing we can rely on. So, and then he goes on to say, take, for example, with entrepreneurs and how they make certain decisions, and they can really just kind of describe it as they were going with a gut feeling and things like that. And in a lot of cases, when it comes to spirituality and gaining insight and understanding and knowledge and wisdom and all of that, it's quite the same way. Because in a lot of cases, like for example, back when I was more into religion, I was always told these stories, and to just kind of take it on faith. It's like, well, this is just what we believe. And there are times where it's like, yeah, but it would be nice to have something more concrete, maybe some history, maybe some science, maybe some math, something that I can point to and say, there it is. That's the proof. That's how we know that this is the case. But unfortunately, when it comes to these things, that's not always the case. But there's also the other side of it is your personal experience. Like, for example, a couple of videos back, I was talking about an NDE that I'd had. And I know that some people might think, well, NDE, I mean, how do you know that you're really out of your body? I just do. I guess I can't argue with that fact. I couldn't tell you in any concrete way that that's what happened. I can tell you what my experience was, and I can tell you that that is certainly not what I would have expected either, which also kind of goes against another thing that I believe. Because, for example, most people, if they have an NDE, they come back and they will tell you what their experience was, and it usually validates whatever belief system they have. In other words, Christians have an NDE, they'll come back and say Jesus greeted them at the gates, or that Jesus was in the white light, or whatever. And other religions will say other things that kind of coincide with their religious beliefs. And what that tells us is that subconsciously we kind of build our, or at least the beginning stages of our afterlife. But like in my case, I was raised a Christian, and granted, and the only thing I really can say is at that time of the NDE, I did not really have any belief system. I was strung out on drugs, and I just didn't have time for anything else. But the experience that I had in the black, I couldn't. I'm like, that's what put me on this quest to search out for answers, because it's like that is not at all what I would have expected. So I began looking, and hence that's why I'm on the spiritual seeker journey that I am on. But getting back to my point, in a lot of cases, we build our own belief systems. And in a lot of cases, we don't have anything really solid to go on. I mean, yeah, there are some instances where, like the double slit experiment proves that not everything is always manifest until it's being observed. Okay. There are other things, like Schrodinger's cat, another theory that says, is the cat alive or is it dead? Well, until you look, it's both alive and dead. So there's that. It's just possibility or probability. But anyway, we have to go with our gut on a lot of these things. In a lot of cases, your intuition is your higher self guiding you in the direction that it wants you to go or you want to go, but ultimately it's all you. your higher self, okay? And to use the video game analogy, it's like this avatar, this body is a vehicle, and it's the means we have to experience, navigate, and interact in this environment, in this physical, material environment. But your true self is just kind of jacked in through the brain, and that way you can have this experience. But every single atom, every single particle that makes up this body is on loan. I am borrowing it for the time that I am in this construct. But when I leave it, I'm going to leave every single particle that makes up this body is staying right here. My essence, my true self, my consciousness will disconnect from this brain that's in this body once and for all. So it's not a big leap. So knowing that I believe that, it's not a big leap for me to believe that my higher self will find ways to kind of nudge me in the direction that I need to go. And that would be what we would call intuition. And in a lot of cases, we do things or we go down paths that we can't even really explain why. And it's like, well, why would you do that? Why did you go down that path? Why did you turn left? Why didn't you turn right? Things like that. It's like, I don't know. But, well, now we kind of do know. It's called intuition. And we need to learn to listen to it even more. Because that's kind of where, like, not to sound cliche, but that's when the magic happens. That's when things happen that are unexpected, but usually it's much to our benefit. So there's that. And let me see did I miss anything in that parable of the bicycle? Well, the bicycle part of it was, he says, let me use an example. Let me use as an example the bicycle. Suppose that we show a bicycle to someone who has never seen one and try to convince him that it is a safe and practical conveyance. He will think we are joking, since it is clear through observation that the bicycle is a highly unstable contraption. Clearly, no amount of explaining will help, and only after learning how to ride it will our subject be convinced of the merits of the bicycle. So, sometimes we just have to learn how to ride it. Trust our intuition that this is correct. So if you feel like you're being led a certain way, but it, like the bicycle, look to someone who's never seen one, but it looks like, I don't know, that's not, no, that doesn't make any sense at all. You may want to stop and think, ride it out. Ride this thing out, see where it takes you, because your intuition it's yourself. I mean, your intuition is yourself. Now, yeah, it does take some practice on making sure, is this my intuition or is this just a crazy thought I'm having? I don't know how to explain the difference. If you know, you know. So there you go. And loved one, if you would, please give this video a like. Also, if you feel like you could share it with someone that might want to also hear it, that would be fantastic too. I would greatly appreciate that. That works out great for the algorithm, helps grow the channel. And also, speaking of which, if you have not subscribed to this channel, I would so appreciate it. I truly would. And yeah, there you go. So that's what I got, loved ones. And I love you. I truly do. And I'll be back directly.